everyone. What's up, Twisted people? Welcome to Charmed TV Autopsy, Season 3, Episode 1. Yes. Hey, it's your girl, Chauncey K. Robinson, aka Twisted Woman CKR. I'm so excited to be back talking about Charmed. And I'm so excited. I even brought my mama with me, y'all. This beautiful lady on the other side birthed your girl here. And she dealt with her for the years that she has. Say hi to everyone, mama.
Hello, everybody. How you doing?
Yes, I'm so excited for you guys to meet my mama, because she is, and we're not going to talk too much about it just yet. We're going to get to it with Ship Talk, but she's a huge Hasty fan like me. So, I wanted to bounce off of somebody as I talk about my love for Charmed. And I also wanted to talk a little bit about, Charmed Season 2. Not too much, just kind of an overview since, life happened, the world happened with doing the Charmed Season 2 reviews and where things were. So I kind of backed off for a while, but now I'm back with Season 3 and, kind of going over that. And we are just so grateful to those of you who are joining us in the live chat. Thank you so much. And all of you who are joining us on the replay as well. I just love talking Charmed with a lot of you on Twitter and the various social medias. And, and if this is your first time joining me and seeing this channel, thank you so much for being here. Be sure to subscribe so you know whenever I post new videos. And so we're going to do Season 3 Charmed. Now, I'm doing it live, so y'all keep me to it and doing this a weekly thing of talking about our girls, Maggie, Mel, and Macy. Yes, we are talking about it. So we had the Season 3 premiere, and I put premiere in question marks because, as we know, as I had just alluded to, life happened when it came to Charmed. And so technically we kind of got, a little bit of the short end of the stick when it came to a Season 2 real finale. So what has happened is that we've continued this plot line with the faction as the big bad that hasn't necessarily reached its culmination yet. So that's where we're at going into Season 3. And so the way we're going to do this review and breakdown is I want to talk about kind of all our overall thoughts of where the plot line went in Season 2 and where we left off in Season 2, how we were feeling about that. And then an overall feeling of Season 3, Episode 1 feelings. And then we're going to do what happened this episode. Where are we at? What's going on? There was a lot of switches and changes and kind of going in a different direction than I thought they would from where things had left off in Season 2. And then we are also, because we got to do it, y'all. We got to talk about Ship Talk. Y'all know this is one of my favorite things to talk about when I talk about Charmed, which is the Ship Talk, and particularly one particular ship. Hasty. I got to talk about my Hasty. Yes, we have to talk about Hasty, but I got some other ships that I like and some other ships I don't really like, and we'll talk about that. And then we're finally going to do predictions. So once again, bring it in, give us your thoughts. And I'm going to start with a question for y'all that we'll go back to later on in this breakdown, which is, which character did you identify with most this episode? And which character weren't you feeling as much this episode? So remember that, because I'm going to ask y'all in the chat and in the replay your thoughts on that. So Mama, I'm going to call you Ma. I'm not going to call you Karen because you're my mama. So Ma, what were your overall thoughts of how Season 2 ended and how they've started off Season 3?
Okay, with the way Season 2 ended, kind of, how can I put this? Remember, they brought in new characters too.
The faction.
The faction, but they also introduced the other witch and half demon like Macy.
Yeah, Abigail. That was kind of half throughout it. And then we got to know Abigail throughout. And then she kind of disappeared towards the end of Season 2. She was supposed to live with them, and then she went somewhere else, and we didn't see her for I think the last 2 episodes. And then kind of where we left off at was Julian's company, Shea, or whatever it was called, being the big bad that has been taking people's powers. What did you think about that turn of events, that Julian, the billionaire, and he's handsome, y'all. I remember him from the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's my boy. He has been around since he was a teenager on so many things, that actor. So I kind of have they kind of played me dirty when they put him with Macy, because I was like, see, now y'all playing with me, because I love this guy. And I can't help but I can't help but like that guy. But of course, Hasty's my couple, but can't help but say he was great on the show. So it kind of linked towards him sort of being the big bad, but then you kind of see that Vivian, his aunt, is really kind of the one that kind of has the evil intentions. What did you think about that turn of events? Did you like the fact that they kind of subverted the fact that Julian isn't as bad as his aunt?
Yes, that's so. I mean, in a sense, when that happened, you saw that how the aunt was doing everything.
Yes,
they needed to get this. Even with the magic, when they was just hurting the animals, these magic animals.
Yeah, magic animals, magic creatures.
Yeah, and they was drawing their the fluid out of them, or the
magic. Yeah, just
yeah.
So we saw that happening, and so it's kind of like, okay, that's the big bad. And at first, I think Jayla is saying Abigail remains my least favorite. I felt for Mel this episode, and that feeling of stuck and isolated from the world. Definitely agreed. I think they were they were definitely tapping into the world that we know of what we're dealing with right now, which, I think that's one of the great things about this Charmed, is that they very much tend to reflect what goes on in our world, especially what women deal with. That's never real, and it doesn't really bludgeon us over the head with women issues, but it kind of interweaves it into the plot line, which is great. And so what we had with this, I was a little surprised and also happy that Julian didn't necessarily turn out to be the big bad himself. Now, it's still, as we see in episode 1 of season 3, now he's saying he's on Macy's side and stuff, and that could change. But for the most part, I didn't get the sense that he was evil. I saw him as someone who wanted to change the world, wanted to make it better, and wanted to save his sister, Rosemary. So I was glad that they didn't fall into that trope of making it so the guy that Macy kind of likes, even though she loves Harry, ends up being the big bad evil. Because I felt that it would have been too easy. It would have been too easy to make him bad. You know what I'm saying, Ma? Like, I feel like it would have been too easy to make him the bad guy. So it was nice because what we got, and I'll admit, I felt like they kind of shoehorned that in the, I think it was like the final episode of season 2, where they talk about the fairy tale of the conqueror. That's what Celeste, one of the former elders, had talked about, which was the conqueror being probably a human who basically was choosing to try to take magic all for themselves, basically conquer magic, colonize magic for themselves. And I think Celeste immediately thought it was Julian. Even when Celeste said that in the previous episode, I was like, I don't feel like it's Julian. I don't think that's really his intention. I think he really does want to change the world. And so far, I'm leaning towards it being Vivian, his aunt, although it could not be Vivian. I only lean towards it being Vivian because this show loves having, which I love, it loves its women villains. It's always this idea with each season where you think it's the guy that's the big bad, but it's really a woman, which I think plays into the women empowerment angle of the show as well. So do you think Vivian, what did you think about Vivian kind of ended up being the big bad?
Yeah, but remember Vivian had that, was that her assistant?
Nadia, her assistant Nadia.
I think Nadia's going to have a part in it too. And she's watching that. And
exactly.
She's watching her and everything too. But I think she's in part of that too.
Yeah.
That's going to be a surprise kick somewhere.
Yeah, I definitely think that Nadia has some, and Bev is joining us. My mom's grand cat, Bev, is joining us for this because all good witches have to have some cats around. And Nadia, I definitely think Nadia is going to play a role in this as well. I think our two, at least for these couple of episodes, depending on what rewrites have happened, I feel like Nadia and Vivian are going to play significant parts going into this season. Now, maybe they'll round it up in the next couple episodes and we'll get a whole new big bad. But I think because of what has happened with the world, they have a chance to kind of extend this in a way. So I think that may play a part in it. Erica is saying Macy had me in my feelings this episode, not only because of Hasty, but a big part because of Hasty, because Hasty always gets us in our feels, y'all. Her line about being so afraid of dying that we don't live hit home. Still not feeling Abby. Love Poppy, but not feeling Abby. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And we got to talk about how Hasty kind of dealt with their issues when we get to ship talk, because I think it could have gone a totally different, more tropey kind of way of how they dealt with that. But I'm glad so far that it didn't go the way that a lot of us thought it was going to go at the end of season 2, with what Harry might have ended up choosing when it came to what Harry might have chosen for Maggie to do. Okay. So overall, good or bad, this opening episode? Did you think it was a good opening episode of season 3, Ma, or did you think it was
because I was looking for something more, in the sense when it first came on. I was looking for it to really get into, but then when they start talking about the fraction, I said, okay, this is the one. If you had to compare from the old episodes or whatever, I think the fraction is going to be that enemy that they're fighting.
Yeah, throughout.
I always thought it was going to be the Overlord.
Yeah, exactly. I think, and that was the thing about season 2. Yes, Bev has thoughts. It started off with you thinking that the big deal was going to be the overlords and the demon tribes. And then what it really turned out being was the humans. And how many times have we seen that in the world, that the biggest threat to our world is humans? So what we ended up seeing was that there were humans. And I kind of like that they did that, because in the previous season, it was kind of a particular demon trying to get something. So to get to the point where, okay, it's humans, and what is that capable of? And then the whole fairy tale of the conqueror. I like that. I like folklore. I'm a big fan of folklore, of old school stories coming into play when it comes to the history of I really think what they've done with this charm, and I say this charm because we all know there's a previous charm, but what I love about this Charmed is, well, one, the diversity, but the other thing I love about this Charmed is they have done such a great job of building a universe. They have done such a great job of building a magical universe of rules, of beings that have their world and their lives, that you really do feel like you're immersed in something. And that, I think that's quality storytelling, because I feel like in season 1, although I enjoyed season 1, I felt like they jumped right into them being witches in the world and kind of trying to make their lives on college campus and stuff like that. But I really liked how in season 2, it really focused on the witch world and them existing in it within the mundane of our life. And I think that really, I really think that upped the storytelling. It upped the stakes of the plot, because in season 1, you had a lot of, monster of the week kind of a thing. And then now there's an overarching plot, maybe the last 2 to 3 episodes. In the season 2, there was a building up throughout. And so what we're getting in season 3 is a continuation of a new world and the expanding of the universe. And so in my opinion, I don't think the episode 1 of season 3 was I feel like it was, I gave them the space because of the fact that it's not really a season premiere, right? I mean, I feel like they added that scene with Macy kind of doing a recap to make you think, oh, on the last time, but let's be real. This is not really the season premiere because of the fact that technically this was supposed to be like episode 20 of season 2. So I wasn't expecting big things to kind of happen. And I actually was really glad that they didn't do what some shows can do, where the first episode of the new season is just quickly tying up everything else so they can get to the next plot. Because I can feel like they kind of did that in the beginning of season 2. So I like that they're taking their time to really finish or expand on this storyline. And so Erica in the chat is saying, I think it was a great episode. I wouldn't count this as season 3. Like I was just saying, true. Though in my head, this is like season 2.0, then later. Episode 4, we will get into the new season. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Jayla is saying Harry and Macy finally had an adult combo, better than the tension we got all of season 2. Yeah, that was one of the reasons why I pulled back in season 2, because I was like, I'm not sitting through this. I don't know what we're doing, but there's so much content out there. I can't be having my heart rate be going off for like what I thought was lazy storytelling, with some of the stuff they were doing. I was like, I don't want to talk bad about a show I really love. So I just kind of took a step back. But I'm glad that they're kind of getting back to things. Okay, so you thought this episode was I thought this was pretty good for what it was, a continuation of season 2. So let's get into
I do have one. Like, okay, in season 2, now remember also they brought in Jordan.
Yes.
You know,
Who we
Jordan,
love. I love Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan, I mean, I wasn't quite sure where they was going with him at.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you also see that, okay, it's Macy. What's the youngest one? Maggie. Now Maggie was starting to get her powers back in a sense, but she was getting new. All of them was getting new powers,
and I thought that was good too. That we got a change of the powers. I felt like going towards the end of season 1, and maybe even the beginning of season 2, the power change were getting kind of cheesy for me in a way. And so I was like, yeah, they lost it when they went with protection. Yeah.
But, you know, they lost everything. But then when you think about how they got there, and then you think about why it was continuing to, you would see how the fraction is in there too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how did all the elders get killed so quick. And that
we saw that. That was a dark lighter.
Right where they at now.
Mm-hmm. It was a whole new world change.
It was, you know.
And I like that. I felt I kind of got tired of the elders. And I think it was time for a new world order. So I was glad that they did that. And like I was saying, I'm glad that they're continuing with the new world order of the way that they're trying to function as witches without this governing body that is the elders, who were really just not good. I didn't like the elders, to be honest. So I'm glad they're gone. So, I mean, I don't think they all needed to die the way they did, but I was glad that it was a new world order, that they were just kind of done. So I was appreciative of that.
Also, in this episode, I hope they continue how the dark lighters got to be from the good lighters. Like, you know.
Yeah. And we got to talk about that. What happened to Jimmy, a.k.a. Harry's Dark Lighter? Because I actually got some questions, and I wanted to see what y'all in the chat, and also those of you who are watching us in the replay, because I got some questions, and I'm not so sure I liked the way this Jimmy plot line was put together. So we got to talk about that when we get to it. But let's get to what happened this episode. Okay, so we're going to go through what happened this episode. Okay. Erica is also asking in the chat, do you think with what we saw in the trailer, Mel's grave with her true last name, plus Julian putting Macy on blast going viral, will bring back some people from Hilltown? I hope so. That was my one caveat from Hilltown being the first season, right? Where they was in the college town, right? I kind of hope so, because I had some favorites in the first season, and I realized why they had to get rid of them, because it wasn't working in a way. I feel like they worked themselves into a corner of having a monster of the week affecting the campus and the town. And that gets kind of cheesy after a while. And I feel like they went to the more serialized route that we see in like the new Sabrina the Teenage Witch type stuff, where there's like a bigger plot throughout the whole season. But I do think it would be nice that some of the characters would come back. I do. And Lucy is actually one of my fave characters who she was my one where I was just like, did we really, I mean, I know Swan kind of became the Lucy in a way of Safe House, sort of, but I'm like, I really liked Lucy and her and Maggie's friendship. And I think Maggie kind of needs another friend. I mean, I love that they're doing the sisterhood, but it'd be nice if Maggie kind of got the outside friend a little bit that she ended up getting with Lucy. And we didn't get that. We haven't gotten that because they were very secluded in season 2. And I don't know if they're going to, I mean, especially with having the way things are in the real world of them having how they might have to film, they may stay secluded this season. So who knows? But I think Lucy was probably the only one where it's like, oh man, if only she could kind of show up, somehow, but it wouldn't have worked. So they had to create, a different kind of thing. But I think that was the one maybe distraction or detraction from season 2, is that they didn't really get to make many friends that we got in season 1. I got that because they needed to emphasize maybe a little bit more of the sisterhood of the power of 3 a little bit, which was also tested in season 2. But it would have been nice to have a few other characters around. But I realized why they had to very much centrally focus it. Okay. So the main thing that happened in this episode 1 of season 3, we got Abigail and Jordan meeting up, and Jordan going on his own little quest. Not little, it's actually a pretty big quest. Jordan is still trying to balance the scales of magic, which was one of the conditions of the curse he still has on him, which was that he needs to balance the scales by basically going against kind of what his great granddaddy did, which was, kill all these witches. So he needs to help other witches, descendants of the tulip and things like that. So we got an Abigail and Jordan plot beeline, which I did not mind because I do like Abigail and Jordan. I don't like Abigail when she's going after Harry, but I do like Abigail as a character. I'll admit I really like the actress and her. And I'll tell you who I ship her with once we get the ship talk, which may be controversial, but I'll get to that in a second. And what we also got was, of course, Macy and Harry going off on an adventure to the black magic market, the underground magic market, to get the siren's tongue, because one of the things they had decided was that they were going to basically do a spell on Julian to get him to give up on, basically forget about magic, so that the whole thing of what he was trying to do, drill into the safe space and all that, would be abandoned. And then we also had Maggie and Mel trying to get information out of Jimmy, Harry's dark lighter. So there's kind of three things going around that two of them ended up coming together with the three and Harry and stuff. So okay, so I guess let's talk about first, let's get Abigail and Jordan our way, because that was kind of plot B. I think I like the plot. I don't know. I like their dynamic. I thought Abigail and Jordan going off on a bit of an adventure. I was a little thrown off that Abigail suddenly was back in her apartment, although they kind of get a throwaway line to explain that. Because if you remember in season 2, she was in her, she couldn't get into her apartment. Her and Mel had to break into the apartment because they were there basically, the demons were basically there on doing that and keeping her out of her apartment. And then suddenly she's back in her apartment eating pizza and getting drunk. And basically the throwaway line is, well, thanks to the charm ones, I don't even have anyone. I'm not even good enough for anyone to want me dead anymore. I don't know how I felt about that, because I was like, okay, that doesn't even make sense. Like, I don't even know, like, who's the new overlord? Like, are we?
Yeah, that's why,
Yeah, because we didn't.
Brother.
Yeah. Well, Parker doesn't have powers anymore, so he's not a demon anymore. She was dethroned. And then we had Godric from the last one, who I guess he's the new overlord, but he was supposed to spill their blood in order to do it and kill one of the charm ones. So it was kind of like, are we just kind of giving up on that plot line that he doesn't want her dead anymore? Or I don't know. That kind of threw me off. I was like,
you think they're gonna
all right
back around yet?
I don't know. I feel like they have to, right? They made this big deal about who was going to be the demon overlord. And the way they made it seem that Godric had to get, for anybody other than the Crane line to get it, that Godric had to spill one of the overlord's blood and one of the charm one's blood. And they escaped. And that's why Abigail was on the run. But now all of a sudden no one wants to kill her. And they kind of didn't explain that. So I don't know. That kind of threw me off. And I was like, okay, fine, sure. Jordan, I'll just go with it. Yeah, I think you're right, Ma. I think they may come back around with it. So I was like, okay, I'll go with it, sure. So Jordan is still getting haunted by the woman who his granddaddy killed. And so she wants him to keep balancing the scales. Now if we remember in season 2, when he had to play dead, when Harry had snuck him into the Shia Corp, she had came to him saying that people were in danger or something like that. I don't know if they're going to, it didn't seem like that was any longer her mission to him. It seemed like her mission was now simply keep balancing the scales. You need to do that or I'm going to keep coming to you. So I don't know if they just dropped that plot line of there being a danger or what, but it seems like that because Maggie had to bench Jordan, he ended up having to do this thing with Abigail. And so they end up doing this thing where they save one of the descendants of Tulip and she's stuck in a painting. They get her out. And now he has a time thing that he's on every time he has to save somebody, which is kind of crazy. And so I guess Abigail and him are going to keep helping each other. So I guess that may be our team up for some of these episodes. But Abigail also said, and it was just asked in the chat about this new revelation, there is yet another Crane. Oh my gosh, how many kids were had of the Cranes. Now she's got a sister, and she wants Jordan's help in finding her sister. Now, I don't know. I don't know if they've changed what Abigail's purpose was because she ended up becoming something of a fan favorite. I do think there's a lot of people who like Abigail as a character. I like her as a character. And I remember when she had Parker held hostage, and she was asked, and Parker, once she took Macy's powers, which we still haven't addressed, when is Macy going to get her demon powers back? I think she deserves them, and I think Abigail should give those up.
Demon part. She just didn't have
Macy had Abigail strip her of her powers because she wanted to make room for the witch powers. And then Abigail basically took Macy's powers since Macy wasn't using them anymore. So that's what we got, right? And they kind of just dropped that. No one's addressing the fact that they noticed that Abigail can now do fire, but that's neither here or there. So Abigail has a sister, and now we're supposed to be, I guess that's her plot line. Now, I feel like when Parker had asked Abigail about, like, what's your end game, Abby? What's your end game? And she said, wouldn't you like to know? Once that episode when she had got Macy's powers. I don't know. I think they switched something. I don't know. I feel like the sister thing is new because I feel like she had a something else she was aiming for. Maybe this is a bait and switch. Maybe this is something where we're supposed to think she's totally good now or something. But it seemed like she had bigger fish to fry. And now all of a sudden she just wants to find her sister. And so I'm a little confused. What do you think about the fact that there's yet another Crane? Because we had Parker, we had Abigail, and now supposedly there's a third sibling. Are you kind of tired of the Crane line, or do you think this is supposed to add something else?
I guess they're going to add something else, because if there's a sister.
And is she a witch? That's the thing. Is the sister a witch, or is she straight up demon?
Yeah, that's true too, to ask,
Yeah, I'm just kind of confused on that. And I think I don't know if this is a switch or if they really had this all the time, because not once did they mention anything about her needing a sister or Parker even mentioning a sister, right? And the line or whatever. Erica is saying in the chat, do you think Abby and her quote unquote sister plus someone else is the trio of dark? I feel like the sister is her mom's side. I think you might be right. Like maybe this is the big thing that is her real end game that Parker was hinting at. Because as much as I love Abigail, it just seems like she's too smart to, and that's not a bad thing. I just feel like she's too smart to be just stopping at just randomly wanting to find her sister for the heck of it,
I think there's something going on.
Yeah, there's something else going on. Blue Wolf Phoenix. Hey, Blue Wolf Phoenix. Thanks for joining us in the chat. Thank you to all of you who are joining us in the chat. The chat is popping right now. Well, they are demons, so they probably spawn lots of kids at one time. You might be right. Maybe there's a whole clan of them. I mean, there is a bloodline, but they keep bringing all these siblings in, and I'm just like, another one? That's honestly what I thought when I saw them. I was like, another one? Erica saying, wouldn't you like to know? That's what Viv said to Jordan in season 2, episode 17. What if Viv is Abby's mom and Nadia is her sister? That might be something as well. I wouldn't be surprised. Then again, Nadia then has been hiding in plain sight. And how did Abigail never know that? So, Catish Chaffee. Oh, I like that name, the way it's spelled. Her sister could come from her Jameson line. Exactly. And then Jayla said, I wish we weren't spending more screen time on Abigail. Oh no, Jayla's not an Abigail fan. I get it though. I get it. We want to watch the 3. Why is Abigail getting so much play when it comes to a plot line? I think there's truth to that. Sadie is saying they're all over the place with Abby's storyline. I agree. I think I would love if they really just make a decision. Maybe she's always going to toe the line between good and evil, but it's kind of like, but what's her real purpose? Did they decide it? Did they change it? Because I don't know. I'm just kind of like, is what's going on with her? I kind of understood it season 2, and now this whole new angle of it, I'm kind of confused, y'all. I'm like, what are they doing with Abigail? I like her, but I don't know what they're doing with her at this point. And Parker's no longer, like, what happened? Wasn't she Godric was supposed to be killer, and now ain't no one searching for her? Is it just that easy? What are the demons doing? No one's talking about the demons.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, so that's what we have going on in this I think that's what we're going to have going on with Abigail and Jordan. I thought it was cute when Abigail had told Jordan, oh, a favor for a favor. And Jordan looked at her like, nah, not that. Because he was like, I'm not sleeping with you. Abigail was like, you wish. Like, I don't want you. That was pretty cute. For especially, I think that was a little nice for any Jordan and Maggie shippers who watch the show as well, to know that he's loyal, even though Maggie's kind of, pushing him away a little bit. So yeah, and Jayla's saying, until Abigail apologizes to Macy for all that ish of season 2, I'm not a fan. I agree. I think there's some apologies that need to go on in a number of people that we're just kind of not addressing. But I give it the space because of the fact that they are still battling a big bad. So they haven't, if you think about it, they haven't really had a time to breathe yet. With everything that has happened, there has not been a time, because there's been an overarching plot, unlike season 1, where you had a big bad of the week and they kind of got a rest and then a big bad came. In season 2, they basically have been dealing with a mystery of stuff for the majority of the season. So maybe it's one of those things where, things haven't quieted down enough for people to kind of relax and kind of reflect. I feel like even maybe Macy and Harry haven't had a chance, who we'll talk about in a second, to really reflect and kind of think about. They had to kind of have a conversation about their relationship as they were on a mission, because they even haven't had a chance to kind of relax and be a couple. So there's a lot of that going on. Erica is saying in the chat, Jordan is hilarious. Like, he is MVP in my head. I agree. I love Jordan. He was such a great addition to season 2. I think he's been a really great addition, and maybe hopefully him and Harry will hang out more. So Harry has a guy friend a little bit, because I like their dynamic when they had to infiltrate. Harry even sort of asked him for a little bit of relationship advice and things like that. So that was cool. So I think there's some chances for that. Okay, so Mom, we then go into let's go to Mel and Maggie.
Okay.
Maggie powers are expanding. This was kind of a twofold B plot in a way, right? Because they have to deal with the situation. And we also within this have to talk about Jimmy plot. So they still have Jimmy up in the attic, Harry's dark lighter. They got him out of the bottle because they want to get information from him about Nadia, about Vivian, because Vivian was controlling him to kill and capture magical creatures for this thing that she has going on. Yeah. And so I guess, okay, let's piece this together. So basically, Mel and Maggie go to him. Mel is high strung. She's pissed right now. She's like, we don't get any time. I can't even be with my girl. I got Ruby, then I lost Ruby. Once again, I'm losing another person, and you're keeping info from us. And so Mel gets so high strung that Maggie then projects a certain emotion on her just for the heck of it. Not for the heck of it, but to calm her down. And it then makes her like wonky. I felt like this was the comedy relief of the episode. What did you think about that?
Yeah, I did, especially when she told her you have to chill, and she just relaxing everything, like she was
baking cookies.
Yeah, you gonna bake cookies now, And then she said, how do she redo that? And she made her feel
depressed, almost, kind of like nothing matters.
She said nothing matters, and then she gave her another feeling of being up there, positive. That's when
and they realized, yeah. And I like that. I did like that. I love the fact when we get a new kind of power from them every so episodes. Although sometimes I feel like it's like, do we need to keep expanding on it? Or can we just kind of get their powers together and kind of that's what they do? But it's cool when it expands and we get a whole new power that opens up a whole thing, especially for Maggie, because her things are emotions, and just seeing that emotions can do more, and what she may really be capable of, because there is a sense that emotions are weakness. And I think what they're showing with Maggie in the show, that actually emotions can be some of the most powerful things. And that's what we're seeing with Maggie's power. And so I think that'll also be great to do. Jayla is saying in the chat, it'll be interesting to see if Maggie gets better control of her power. Exactly. I think, imagine what she can do if she can make people feel a certain way to get them to like not chase them anymore and things like that. I think that'll be I think that'll be good. And Catus is saying, I thought it brought some comic relief to the episode while also giving us a good conversation about how they're feeling in this moment. Exactly. You know, like we were just talking about, they haven't had a dull moment. And for Mel to kind of be like, I'm high strung. I'm tired of feeling the way I'm feeling. And then Maggie also projecting her own emotions that she, for someone who is as emotional as her, she kind of bottles it up a lot of the time to the point where it does come out in these different ways. And so it's really great to see Maggie's powers, the creative ways the writers are doing to show Maggie's powers in that regard. And so we got that little bit of comic relief, but we also got out of Jimmy the thing about Rosemary when it came to Julian. And what we found is, we'll get to that with the Julian plotline with Macy and Harry as well.
Mm-hmm.
But they made a promise to Jimmy that they would let him go and give him a whole new life in a whole new kind of way, where he'd be considered a good guy, and it would also affect other people that he'd be a good guy, and they would let him go. Okay, so this is my issue with this plot line. I'm just gonna be honest with you. We had a whole thing in season 2 where it was a question of him not being able to exist on his own. Now, I get it. We end up realizing that he's not as bad, and that's true. I thought they were going to do a merge. That seemed like what they were trying to do. Like, I felt like Macy came to Harry telling him, I figured out a way for you two to merge, and so that you'd be whole, because it was a whole thing of Harry not feeling whole and Jimmy feeling like he never got a life. And I thought they were going to bring them together. So it was kind of weird that suddenly it's like, okay, we're just going to let him go and live his life and I guess hope that he doesn't die so that Harry doesn't die either. Let me know in the chat and in the replay how y'all felt about that. Because I just felt like, I'm not going to say it was anticlimactic. I just felt like all that, and they didn't even, like, how does Harry feel about his other half, the part that was taken out of him, just kind of wandering the London streets now? But what did you think about that, Ma?
Yeah, but you have to see this too. That could tie into in other episodes with him. They let him live somewhere else now and doing what he has to do. But somehow I figure they're gonna bring him back in some way for them to emerge, like you said. But somehow he's gonna have to need him to do that, because somehow it's a plot to why they did it and why they needed him.
I agree with you. I don't think this is the last we're going to see of Harry, but I couldn't understand why they didn't do a merge. Macy why not tell Jimmy, hey, we figured out a way that you could be whole and you can live and you'd be one. Because, I mean, also, Jimmy also had feelings for Macy, too. And that kind of seemed to get dropped. It seemed like Macy would never got in a room with him alone again after all that, because I can't be by myself with this guy. But it was like they just kind of dropped. Is he okay with letting? Yeah, but it's like, are they okay with letting? I mean, is Jimmy just gonna be okay with letting Macy go? Because don't they share the same emotions? Like, how did there wasn't
that either?
They never, because the thing was, Macy was doing a whole experiment to separate them, right? To make it so they didn't affect. She couldn't achieve that. She worked with Julian. Julian gave her the idea, and it was the idea of merge them. You can merge them. So how do you do it where he's walking around? Won't he have feelings? Won't he have emotions? They no longer share that. They didn't really seem to explain, since there was no rupture of their connection necessarily.
That's gonna have something to do with him coming back.
You might be right. I just didn't understand that. Like, I was just like, wait a minute. I thought we were going to merge these two guys. What's going on? Erica's saying, I feel like they are going to have a merge by the end of the season, episode 3. Like, something is going to happen. You may be right. Yeah. Boo Wolf is saying, with the new power they gave Jimmy, that could be distraction. Yeah, because they gave him the thing that they were sort of going to give Julian, right? Which was the whole idea of an idea getting spread in his mind and then spread in others of being a good guy. But they had said that.
Did that though.
Yeah, but you see that they said that it could be disastrous for Julian. So why give it to Jimmy, who could technically? I was just like, what? I was like, okay.
When he told the guy, "I'm a good guy," and you saw the guy,
I was like, is this a good thing? Is this
so? That might be a big problem.
I don't know why they did that. That was weird to me. Caddis is saying in the chat, I think giving Jimmy the potion is going to have serious side effects and it will affect the shift into the season 3 storyline. It may, I think you guys y'all are right in the chat, and also let me know what y'all think in the replay. I think, there is truth that Jimmy might not be the last that we see of them. And so that'll be interesting. I just thought that was a little weird that they made that promise to him and not even tracking him or anything. I mean, what if he dies and then Harry just suddenly is dead? And it's like, oh, I guess Jimmy died somewhere. What?
No, but I think but remember, he thought he killed Jimmy, but he ended up in that grave.
Yeah, because there's only a certain way you can kill him, I think. So maybe they just think he's, for the most part, going to be okay. So they shouldn't really have to worry. So I don't know. That was one thing I wanted to discuss, because I just didn't understand how that was. But you guys are convincing me that maybe it's not tied up, that maybe that's the whole point. I just felt like if this is the way they're tying up this plot line that was such a huge thing in season 2, I'm going to need some receipts that this is going to be okay for the future, because that just seems kind of weird that they do that, if you ask me. So, okay. So they get the name Rosemary and whatnot from Jimmy. And then they figure out that a big thing that's pushing Julian is wanting to wake his sister up. We eventually find out that Vivian has been lying to Julian, because one of the reasons why they're supposed to be drilling in the safe space is for the the black jasmine
oil. Is it black oil?
The black oil. Y'all, let me know in chat. I totally flew out my head with everything else.
Damn,
Jimmy stuff threw me out. But there's something in the tree, the black oil, right?
I think it's black oil.
Yeah, but it's a name, a specific name, and it just flew out my head. But so that's the thing, and he's getting it. One of the main reasons why he's getting it is because, one, he thinks he can help heal the world. He can do things with this magic and stuff. Black Amber, thank you,
Black Amber,
Erica. It was Black Amber. I knew it was something. It just flew out my head. Yes, I was like, I hate when I forget names. So it was Black Amber, and one of the ways that Vivian has pushed Julian to want the Black Amber is because she made him think that this was the way of bringing Rosemary. But we eventually find out through Macy and Harry going there that Vivian has been lying, that she's been giving an extreme sedative that basically makes it look like, well, she makes it look like it's Black Amber. It's actually an extreme sedative, and that's what's making him think Rosemary is coming to life. And this thus makes Julian seemingly join their side. And seemingly. I think that's the key word here. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting because, like, they were also emphasizing that magic doesn't have to solve everything, that certain issues don't always need to be solved with magic. What did you think about the fact that, they went through all this trouble, Macy and Harry, and getting this siren tongue, and they didn't even end up using it on Julian? Did you think that was good that they did that they ended up going more with logic and trying to get Julian on their side? Or do you think they should have used the potion on Julian instead?
No, I think Macy did the right thing, because she said he's not going to give up regardless what. So it's best for him to see proof. And that's what she did. She showed him proof.
Yeah.
What his aunt was doing, what his aunt was trying to, that she deceived him.
Yes. I agree with that. I do wonder if he's going to be any match for his aunt, though. Like others are saying, Jayla is saying in the chat, Vivian has $1 billion. She could easily find Jimmy. She could easily do a lot of stuff. Julian has a lot of influence too. My question is, what is Julian going to try to do? Because Macy told him, like, you've got blood on your hands too. You let your aunt kind of do the dirty work, but you kind of allowed it to happen. Mm-hmm. So what are you going to do? So my question is, what is Julian going to kind of do with the situation? Like he's going to be kind of he's in the lion's den and going back. And does he keep trying to go for Black Amber? Does he try to infiltrate? How does he stop his aunt? What does his aunt do to him? But I agree. I think it was good that they went that route, that they didn't end up doing that to him. And it was kind of a nice sort of closure for him and Macy. And we'll talk about a little bit more of that in Ship Talk section. It was a nice little closure. I like their dynamic. I just love Harry and Macy more. I didn't hate them together. I didn't hate Macy and Julian together. I don't think Hasty can be denied. So I was fine with that. And so Sadie in the chat is saying white Aunt Viv is dead wrong for doing that to Rosemary. Oh my gosh. I thought that too. I was like, Aunt Viv, is someone a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air fan who's writing this? Like, what is Aunt Viv doing? Oh my God, Aunt Viv, what you doing? Because, yeah, we got darker skinned Aunt Viv, light skinned Aunt Viv, and then we got white Aunt Viv now on Charmed. Yeah, so I thought that was a good thing that they did. And then we also saw Macy and Harry going to the thing, getting the siren's tongue. And that was a whole little it was more so a chance for them to talk about their relationship. So I think that can give us a segue into the ship talk, right? I will say my main thoughts about this episode was that about the episode, the details in general was Macy was a bad bee this episode. She punched that guy out. She was telling Harry, no, you ain't breaking up with me. I think Macy has truly emerged. I mean, they're all leaders in their own right, but it's very clear that Macy is kind of like, she's just awesome, the Macy character, but they hone that in. It's not just like she's awesome, let's everyone tell you that she's awesome, but she shows it. They let her show it in her own way. And I really appreciate that. And yes, Erica, we're gonna need to talk about Julian because that's one of my predictions. I don't usually people who switch to their side who ain't with somebody in particular is not really long for this world. Yeah. So of the charm. So we may be seeing Julian up and honestly the actor is pretty well known. He's probably got movies he wants to do too. So it's like, yeah, I'll come for this guest stint, but I don't know if I'm going to try to be like a regular on this show. So that's a thing too. He might have other projects as well. And so it was great to see Macy kind of be the bad bee. And others had also mentioned about Mel and Macy bonding. And I think that's been a little bit of another detractor of the show a little bit. And I don't even know if it's a detractor show. It's kind of just natural in its way, right? Because that was the whole thing of why they didn't want to come together for Power of Three. Because it was like Macy admitted, she was like, sometimes I like just being Macy. I like just being solo. I don't want to be just me and other two people all the time. And that was real talk. And I appreciate it when they have those real sister talks in the episodes that they do. And so one of the things when it comes to this show is that Mel and Macy have not bonded as much as Maggie and Macy have. And Maggie has sort of been the between for both of them. And so we haven't gotten, I mean, I would even say in season 2, Mel probably bonded with Abigail more than she bonded with Macy because they went on more, they had more conversations with each other. So that was,
I felt bad for Mel.
You felt bad for Mel?
Yeah, because Mel, she's okay. How can I put Mel? Mel was used to be, she was in the way she's like bossy. She liked to be in charge of things. And right then and there, she had no powers. Yeah. Wanted to help her sister. Here, Macy, Macy still got power or whatever.
Talking about season 2 with the fire, yeah.
And now she just felt she wasn't doing nothing. She felt bad. And
and that's what they were, and I get that when they had that real talk episode. Yeah. No, I agree with you. And I kind of, because if y'all have seen some of my previous reviews, sometimes Mel is the one I get annoyed with the most because sometimes I just think she's very brash and sometimes she just doesn't listen. And you think she's grown one episode and then she says something, you're like, did you not learn your lesson? But I think she's been better. Mel grew on me even more in season 2 because she started to admit, she's like, I feel like I've been backed into a corner because I was made to be the one that had to be the serious one, the one who had to be the one to make the hard decisions. And I don't get to loosen up because you two get to do that. And I felt for Mel in that regard. And I hope, like you're saying, Ma, I hope that they continue with her having those moments in season 3, because I think it would show a different side of Mel that isn't just simply what she kind of got, like she said, pigeonholed into in season 1 and half of season 2, which was, I have to be the one that's always going to say the things that no one else wants to say, but probably has to make the hard decisions and look like the mean one. So there's that. So what was that, Mom?
He ended up with a store.
Yes, you know, with a store.
Yes.
We got to talk about Mel's love life because the girl needs some help.
Yeah, but don't forget about the shop owner. Somehow she got to come back into the
Cat,
picture.
yeah. She might. Cat might come back.
She's coming back in the picture somehow. Like I said, everything that's coming down with the faction,
yeah,
and their powers, the new powers. But then it's gonna come. Like, I can't wait for that. This is gonna just come to it's gonna be good.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're building up to something. Yeah. I definitely agree with you there. So I guess we got to segue because y'all were talking about it in chat, and y'all probably also thinking about it in the replay. The ship talk. We got to talk about ship talk. We got to talk about relationships. And first and foremost, of course, I feel like we need to talk about Hasty, Harry, and Macy. Y'all, I was scared at the end of season 2, the end of it, because Harry was talking to Maggie about changing his feelings. Mm-hmm. And the first thing I thought is, Maggie, you better tell your sister that her boyfriend is thinking to change his feelings for her. What are you doing? Don't just be like, oh, I guess so, maybe. You know what I mean? And I enjoyed that they had a real conversation about that. Macy, they could have gone the more traditional route, which is Macy gets mad, they're on the outs. But I felt like we dealt with so much of that in season 2.
Okay, what happened?
What's going on here? Because they both seem to know they have feelings for each other, but whatever. So it was nice to see them come together and Macy just straight up saying, no, we're not going to do this. We need to live our lives. We've wasted too much time. And I want you, Harry. That was a great moment to me because that showed, I think, the way they both respect each other, that they aren't going to do what we saw with Maggie and Parker, where it was like they used more of their actions and didn't really talk about their feelings as much. And it kind of put them in a situation that wasn't the most healthy. So it was nice to see them communicate, not as soapy as some of us would like. Cause I'll admit, sometimes I like when the guy has to grovel to get back with the girl. Shows, but I felt like Hasty had too much of that already. So it was nice to get them kind of talking about it. What did you think about that they actually talked it out, Ma?
Well, I'm glad they did because, like I said, Macy was not giving up on Harry.
Yes. And I thought that was...
And that's going to work out good. I hope they do get together and they will, it's going to come, there's going to be problems there. Believe me. Because that lady was she was one of the elders or just one of the witches?
Celeste. Celeste, yeah. She used to be the elder, but she walked away.
You cannot get together, making him feel like you and her do not belong together.
This is my thing too, though. I know Harry still considers himself a white lighter, but they literally fired him. You know what I mean? I would be like, listen. Y'all, maybe not you, Celeste, but y'all let me go. I'm a person. I get to live my life. I got my duty, but I'm also who I am, And it was kind of like, are we still leaning with this thing that some kind of the elders get to kind of make the decisions for all that? And I definitely... Exactly. And I agree with Kattis, where she's saying there still needs to be a conversation about all of that. But I appreciate them not making Macy angry about it. They took a step back and communicated. I agree. I do think Macy needed to be a little mad. But I also understand that she's probably thinking we wasted like so much time in season 2 for months. We wasted so much time. Do I really want us to be on the outs again? And so I appreciated that, although I worry that this isn't going to be the last time we see Harry feeling like he has to make that decision. I don't think this is the last time we're going to have this conversation. I think, unfortunately, that Harry, it might do something because it's just the way of it is, right? You got a main couple, one of the most popular ships on the show. They're not just going to, and it's, they're not going to let them live happily ever after just yet. I feel like not yet. I agree. And I don't think this is the last we're going to hear about this, y'all, unfortunately. I don't know. Let me know in the chat in the replay what y'all think. But I think Harry has agreed with her for now. I don't think it's completely squashed.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think it's squashed, unfortunately. But I liked that they that they talked it out. I do like
but
that.
I think they're gonna prolong that. They're gonna try to come between them no matter what. So that's gonna be like, it's gonna go. They're gonna have the rough spots. So it's gonna happen. We know they're gonna end up together anyway. That's how
I hope
see.
so. Yeah, they're the main couple, as far as I can tell. So, but I don't think that's the last we've heard of it. I think there may be trouble, but I think they have to deal with this now, so they're not going to really deal with it just yet. But we may be seeing something in the future with Macy being in danger or something like that, and Harry feeling like he has to make a decision. I think we may be seeing that. But I do love my Hasty. I think you love Hasty too, Ma. I get it from my mama, y'all. She loves Hasty as well. And so we were very happy that this didn't end with Harry. I was so worried. I was like, are we going to come back and he done changed his feelings? That's going to cause such a rift between them if that happens. So I'm happy that didn't happen this episode, at least. Sadie is saying in the chat, I feel like their combo at the end was unresolved. They'll probably spend the next few episodes getting on the same page. Hasty. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you.
I agree
on
with
that.
It.
I just worry that it's going to take some time and that he may make a stupid decision before that. Because why not, right? This is a show and it needs drama.
Yes.
I am glad they dropped that mess with him and Abigail, though. I'm glad that never got all the way. It was so silly. And that brings me actually to the other situation of Mel. And y'all, I'm going to tell you who I ship Mel with. I ship Mel with Abigail. And I'm going to tell you why. They have been building this relationship up. You can't tell me otherwise. I feel like Mel, first of all, they have chemistry. Anytime they go on little adventure together, or it's like this snarky kind of thing. And I think it really works. I don't know. I feel like Mel and Abigail really work. And that thing she said to her, Abigail actually said something to her very interesting in season 2, where she said, "You've made me think maybe bi-magical." And then she walks away. And I was like, oh, that was, and even Mel was like, what's she talking about? I was like, oh, wait a minute. Was that something? Am I seeing the beginning of a really good ship? Because I kind of dig it. I feel like that's why it made me annoyed when they went with it was so predictable route of Abigail wanting Harry. Because I'm like, wait a minute, Abigail and Mel are right there. All that chemistry is right there. Okay, some of y'all aren't agreeing with me necessarily. It's okay. And I get it. Some of y'all aren't agreeing with me in chat. But I'm saying, look, go back and look at some of their scenes. Like, they have chemistry. I mean, mine is from your mind. Abigail doing what she did with Harry. Abigail sometimes, but like, think about it. There could be this push and pull of Mel being this stoic witch who really just loves her heritage and stuff, and then Abigail being always playing the line, and them having to kind of, I don't know. I feel like Abigail's like the one person who gives her just as good as she gives with Mel, who kind of, they have this very good dynamic between them. Because I will say, Mel right now, since we're talking about ship, Mel is still into Ruby. And I'm going to tell you, I don't think Mel and Ruby are long for this for this charmed world as a ship. One, because I think the storytelling is on the wall in the sense that usually ships need to take time to get built. And they kind of just got together and they're a couple and now she's missing her. I think unless they're going to give Ruby more of a backstory and stuff, I don't think they're going to work, because Ruby is already telling her, I don't want to have anything to do with magic. And I'm just so over this, like, I don't know. I'm just so over this kind of thing where they have to keep always deciding between themselves and their magic. And I think it would be cooler if it was like Mel dealing with a person who's half demon. I know Maggie dealt with it with Parker, but could you imagine her dealing it with Abigail, who's already like, no, I like being a demon. It's not necessarily like I'm torn or anything, but maybe I can make amends. I don't know. You know, Sadie is saying the only thing I ship Abby with is a knife to the heart. She's got to go. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I think it would be fun. Blue Wolf is saying, I feel like Abigail can influence Mel to go down a dark road. And wouldn't that be such a cool plot line?
Goodness.
Wouldn't that be such a cool plot line? I think there might be some. I'm thinking of a storyline wise, y'all. I'm not just thinking about, I guess I'm just thinking there's potential with the story. I think if Mel gets with Ruby and they stay together, unless Ruby has is given more of an interesting backstory and stuff, she'll end up being just the girlfriend. And we had that already in season 1 a little bit with Mel and her other people. And so I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't know if I just feel like there's more story there. Erica is saying, if they broke up Kevin and Zoe on This Is Us because she didn't want kids, they better not make Ruby become a witch to be with Mel. Exactly. It's like, I don't know. I just feel like there's more potential plot line. And if that's what Ruby wants, I don't want to see a story where Mel is trying to convince Ruby otherwise. Because I don't think that's interesting. It's like she's made her decision. We talk about consent and everything on Charmed, which I think is really great. And I think Ruby's decision needs to be respected. And I think Mel has to admit that means they can't be together. And I just think,
I know. She said it's not that I don't want to be. I mean, she still want to see Mel, but Mel, don't want to see her no more because she can't deal with the magic. She said she want to see Mel, but she just don't want to deal with the magic that she, have to fight this and that. That's what she want to do.
I see what you're saying, Ma. But I guess my thing is, how can you be with someone who doesn't want to have anything to do with something that's such a huge part of what you are? Right?
True.
And where can this storyline go? Yeah. It's either going to go with Ruby being okay with it, so then she has to change who she and the life she wants to have to be with Mel, or Mel somehow doing this balancing act. And I'm not here. I don't know. I just think that's boring. I just think that's boring. So I don't know. I just feel like it'd be, and E Garcia is saying Ruby could be her cute human normal girlfriend. Yes, she could. But are we not sort of getting that with Jordan and Maggie, who we also need to talk about? Yes, you're right. Ruby could be that. But I don't know. Maybe it's just me with storylines. I would worry that she's just kind of there for Mel, which is fine. It's not all about, but I don't know. I kind of like when all the partners are involved in their lives, and not just waiting there at home, not wanting to even hear about, like Mel would never even be able to tell Ruby, oh, we fought this demon today, because Ruby don't want to hear it. It's not like she's even a human that's okay with, she's a former witch that want nothing to do with witchcraft. Because she is a witch, so she's not even really normal human.
She's not really normal.
Right? So, I mean, okay, so I guess that was my controversial thought of this episode. Because, okay, so we can agree, y'all, we love Hasty. At least that. Everyone loves Harry and Macy. Although I think there might be some trouble, but I think they're in game, of course. Now, Maggie and Jordan, who we should be talking about. I think I can agree, and you can agree, Ma, that we love Jordan. Let's protect Jordan at all costs. I think I was a little worried for Jordan in season 2. I was like, he's too nice and he's too great. They're going to kill him off. I thought that, but then they started to build him and Maggie. What do you think of the Maggie and Jordan will they, won't they situation?
Will they? Possibly, but she's not going to let that happen because she don't want him to get hurt. But then she see that, with the curse and everything, they can't come together right now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, but that's going to be a good plot line right there with them too, because it's going to be like, do I want to? And then he's like, he really likes her, but she told him from the beginning that it's hard on relationships.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Because she told him that from the beginning, especially after he found out everything.
I think they've done such a great job with Jordan and Maggie in building up a solid foundation. And that's hard to do sometimes in storylines, because I liked Maggie and Parker for the most part. I thought they had chemistry. Let me say that. They had chemistry. But I did feel like the basis of their relationship was a bit too soapy or just not as strong. Although there was like this strong connection. We love each other forever, we're soulmates. And I felt like it was premature. And I feel like what they've built up with Jordan and Maggie is something that's really strong. and can go the distance because of who Jordan is as a character on his own. Because I think to have a really strong ship, you need to have both characters be strong characters. I guess that's my whole thing. I want two characters that are on equal footing and not just one character that's the strong one and the other one is just kind of there for them. So I like the fact that they're giving Jordan something to do and they're giving Maggie something to do. And I appreciate that. And I think them coming together and how he knows Harry, how Macy, and he even had a scene with Mel, which was really cool. He had a scene hanging out with Mel when she was doing the thing. So Mel is getting to know him too. He's very much indoctrinated in their lives and they have chemistry. It's such a sweetness to them. Maggie and Jordan have such a sweetness to them. And I just want to protect Jordan at all costs. I'm a little worried for him now that he's teaming up with Abigail to find a sister.
Don't he have a girlfriend? The girlfriend?
Okay. So they never addressed whether or not. See, somewhere in the midst of season 2, he started, like, it was very obvious he started having feelings for Maggie. And he was even asking, like, oh, you know, like when he was talking to Harry, he's like, I'm in her life, but am I in her life? And somewhere in the midst of it, he kind of just stopped talking about his girlfriend. So I'm assuming that, honestly, I'm assuming that they just basically broke up because he don't ever talk about her no more. So, but you're right for that's very perceptive. You're very right for asking what happened to his law school girlfriend because she just is nowhere. Caddis is saying in the chat, I'm cool with them staying friends, but they are clearly building onto something more, even though that line was out of the blue and dropped immediately. Yeah, when Maggie was talking about, you know, I'm sitting here and I got this great guy who wants to get closer to me over there and, you know, and I can't even do that. And it was like, okay, so Maggie's decided she has romantic feelings for him and they haven't even shared a kiss yet, but I think there is potential there. I think they could be really sweet together and them going on the missions that they do. But like I said, I love Jordan's. I think they've done such a great job. I think they've done, you okay, Mama?
Yeah.
Yeah. All this talking. I think they've done such a great job of Jordan as an individual character. I am still okay with him being, even if he didn't end up with any of them, he could just be the guy that's around who's really close with all of them. But I do think it would be potential wasted because I think he'd be a great guy for Maggie. And I think Maggie is overdue for a healthy relationship because her and Parker were toxic in some regards, right? Her and Parker. So it's nice that they are coming together, in my opinion. Erica is saying, even if Jordan and Maggie aren't a thing, Jordan has my heart and needs to stay. He has a good connection with basically the whole family. It's so cute, right? Jordan is such a great character. And I need Jordan to be okay. And I know y'all don't want to hear, but I feel like they're also indoctrinating Abigail into the fray of things unless they turn out for her to be a big bad. I don't see it happening yet, though. I think they're kind of trying to add her as that. I'm sort of with you guys, but I do my own thing occasionally.
Yeah,
too,
I think that's
like the extra characters.
Yeah.
And then Caddis is saying in the chat, Harry could take Jordan on his wing as a protege whitelighter. That too. Jordan could get powers. Although I'm fine with Jordan kind of being a warrior guy. Like he went to war. He's a veteran. So he has the skills and he's a capable human. You know, it's not wrong, you know, with him staying a capable human. You know, Alicia is saying Jordan can be like the top threat of the original. Yes.
I was the same way because remember they did it. The cop was the main one that knew about them.
Yes. And he was their friend.
But, you know, as you see it, all the stories that they're doing, they might have, you know, mixed them up. But if you know the original charm, you see that.
Yeah.
They mixed it up in a sense.
Yeah. I mean, as someone who stopped watching the original Charmed after they kill off Prue, up to that point, it was really great. It was pretty solid. And so I think they're taking some of the good moments. I think that whole painting thing, someone stuck in a painting, was actually a callback to the original Charmed.
Callback to the original.
Yeah, that was a callback.
Yeah. Because when they did that, I said, oh, okay.
Yeah, that was from original. That was OG Charmed. Erica saying, taking from the OG Charmed a bit, future Hasty kids come back. Oops, Uncle Jordan, I wouldn't be mad. Right? That might be a thing if the future Hasty kids come back. You know, Jord Bay. All right. Yes. No, we like Jordan here. We're good fans of Jordan.
I like Jordan.
Yeah, so we have Hasty, who we think are on good terms, but I think you and me, Ma, we're in agreement that it's not done yet and that there may be some trouble in the future, but they had so much back and forth. They just got together. Let's wait a little bit, but I worry that they won't let them wait a little bit before trouble is in paradise. Hopefully it won't be trouble in the sense of third parties anymore, but maybe just between them two. I'd rather that than another Abigail Julian situation. We don't need that again. I'm shipping Mel and Abigail. I'm going to call her right now within predictions. I think it's happening. I think a hookup might happen. I don't know if it's going to be a full-fledged relationship, but I feel like there's something there between them. I don't think Mel and Ruby are long for the ship world, though, honestly. Unless they do something for Ruby, I don't see it happening. I feel like she kind of came out of nowhere, and then it was suddenly, yeah, I used to be a witch. So unless they expand... Right?
See, when she said that, I used to be, you're still a witch.
Exactly. But she doesn't want to have anything to do with it. Maybe she gets drawn back in. So there's that. I don't know. Is there anybody you're shipping, Ma, who we haven't seen yet? Any ship that you want to see explored a bit more? Abiv was feeling Jordan last season. Abiv looked like she wanted to hook up with Jordan at the charity event. I know.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's the main ships that we're thinking of. Poor Julian. I feel like Julian really loved Macy or really came to like her. I wonder if he's going to still have some feelings for her, but we know that's Macy's not trying to have that. So we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see with that. Yeah. Okay. So now the question is, and I asked all of you in the chat and also on the replay, which character did you identify with best this episode, and which character were you feeling the least this episode? So, Ma, which character were you feeling the most this episode? And let me know in the chat, what are y'all thinking about?
Which one? I think it was Harry and Macy.
Okay, you were feeling them the most. Yeah.
She didn't know how to take the dark lighter, but she saw she was drawn to him by his the dark side of him.
Yeah, but I'm talking about in this episode, Ma. Yeah. Which character in this episode, who did you like the most? So you just on that dark romance with Macy stuff. That's what you thinking about. All those Harlequin novels you read.
Now, what was the question again?
Which character? Thinking about Dark Lighter, Jimmy. What character? What character did you identify with most this episode? Like, which character were you feeling? Did you like this episode the most?
Macy. I think
Macy.
Yeah, because I like the way she went, how she dealt with everything, and dealing with Harry, trying to make him see what she wanted him to see, not give up on them.
Yeah.
And I felt her the most,
Okay. And which character were you not feeling the most this episode? Which character you were like, kind of side-eyeing this episode?
Abigail.
Abigail? All right. I think we're opposing teams. I think you're on the side of some people in the chat who ain't feeling her. I kind of like Abigail, but okay.
I can't feel her at this episode in this, she was like, this woman, when she first came, she had all the mouth and everything, Then she was sitting there drinking wine and eating a piece. I'm like, for real? You just...
Like, this is where you came to? Like, just feeling sorry for herself in her apartment.
Yeah, you were the overlord. Now you just like... Oh God, I said for real.
Pity. Yeah. No, yeah. I feel you. I think for me, I identified best with maybe Jordan. I felt like Jordan, he's trying to do good in the world. Even though he doesn't have magical powers, he wants to right the wrongs of his great granddaddy. And he also wants to do well. And so in a world that maybe is kind of against that. So I was feeling Jordan. I think who I was feeling the least, maybe there was not anyone I was necessarily feeling the least, perhaps this episode. I wasn't liking the fact that Harry was keeping a secret from Macy so early on. I didn't like that. So probably in that sense, he was probably the one I was feeling the least in that sense. probably. Not like I didn't like him, but because, how could I ever dislike Harry and Macy? But I was side-eyeing him. I was like, you just got her, man. Can you just enjoy this for the moment? Like, Harry, stop torturing yourself. So I was like, can we not do this for the rest of the season? Where you where you pull an Angel and Buffy situation, for those of you who've ever watched Angel Buffy, where Angel walks away because he can't be with Buffy. And it's like, listen, dude, like, just figure it out. Jayla in the chat is Team Abby hate. Okay, Ma, I think you are the captain. My mother is now the captain of Team Abby hate.
No, I don't hate Abby. Don't get me wrong. I just felt that what she,
where she's at is like, okay, what's the point? Right, yeah, she's kind of pitiful. She's pitiful. Yeah. Yeah, I get you. Okay, so let's do predictions. Y'all, let me know in the chat and also the replay. What are your predictions? Since this is the season premiere, what are your predictions for the whole season? Not details, but just like a major thing that you think we're going towards this season. What are you thinking? Let's put some money on it, y'all. Like, what? No, we're not really putting money on. But what do you have a prediction for this season?
Not really. I don't have a prediction for this season, but I think if they're gonna go towards with this the Aunt Viv thing and her assistant, I think the assistant have something more, because
Nadia.
That suitcase that the guy, gave them. And
that was another thing that happened. Some mysterious suitcase that Aunt Viv opened.
She asked him, did anybody else see this? And he said no. Mm-hmm. The way she's looking at it, and the other one, but behind her, was looking at it. So I predict that it's something to do with that. With
some type of power. Yeah.
Yeah, something's coming with that.
Okay. That's pretty good.
It'll be a good season.
I think so too. I think it's going to be a great season. My prediction is that there's another big bad that's going to reveal itself, I think, with the faction, but I do think the whole conqueror thing is going to come. Someone, I don't know who, is clearly a reincarnation of the conqueror, as Celeste was saying. I don't think it's Julian, but I don't know who it is. I'm not necessarily sure it's Aunt Viv, though, because if that was the case, you would think she'd be doing it earlier on in her life.
Yeah, but like I said, the one behind her, I don't know who she is or whatever.
Nadia.
She's there for somebody else. Okay,
so you think Nadia is going to emerge? So yeah, I do think we're going to see the conqueror in some kind of regard this season. I'm not completely sure on who it is. Boo Wolf Phoenix in the chat is saying Julian's going to end up dead. That's that prediction. Caddis is saying Jimmy's influence will have a lasting effect on the new storyline.
Okay.
And so, yeah, is saying Joggy, that is Jordan and Maggie. I like that name. And Hasty, even more are going to happen. Julian dies. Aunt Viv putting up a huge fight. I agree with you, Millennia.
Yeah, I think she's out for that. Yeah. You want something.
Yeah, exactly. I see that. I definitely see that. Erica's saying Hasty will be there. We'll get their crap together by end of season for sure. No doubt. I agree with you on that. I do think Hasty's in game. I definitely agree with y'all on that. I just don't think they're going to make it easy for us. That's all but this time I'm prepared, because I went through the crap. I just don't like stupid triangles, but I know this stuff probably this season going to be more internal for them. So I'm like, okay, let's do it. And they got some really good plot lines this season. So I think it's going to be pretty good stuff. And Jayla is saying Harry and Jimmy merge.
They are. Watch later. Oh, somehow that's going to come. No, they're leaving him out there for a reason. And they're going to come together on that, because he's going to need Harry and Harry's going to need him. So they have to, merge.
Okay, so that's another. So let's keep that in mind, y'all. Harry and Jimmy might come together. They might merge, because I just feel like that was weird the way they tied up that plot line. That didn't make any sense to me. And so I'm agreeing with you, Caddis, that that's going to happen. Let us know in the chat and also in the replay, for those of you who are watching in the replay, about what your thoughts are and what you think is going to happen. And also be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. It's so great, to be doing this and being back within the Charm fandom of talking about all this great stuff with you all, especially with my mama here, because I already talked about it with her on the phone. So I was like, Mom, why don't you just come on and I talk a lot anyway, but you can talk as well about it too and give your thoughts because you're awesome. And so we're really excited about getting into season 3. And I think a lot of great stuff is happening. It's going to happen. Maybe some frustrating stuff too, but we're excited about it. And thank you all for joining us today. And be sure to be here again next Monday when we do episode 2. Of course. And yeah, let us know in the replay and also in the chat what more of your predictions and what you are thinking. And if you agree with some of it, I'm not team Abby hate, I hope I didn't lose any cool points for that. My mom is, so it's okay. And so we'll see what that might be. Some others are talking about Swan, who I like Swan too. She's also a cool character. Candace is saying, I still want Swan to be a secret white lighter. Erica is saying Swan is conqueror. I don't know about Swan being conqueror. I think that I would be mad if she was a conqueror. That would be feeling kind of anticlimactic, but that could be a potential thing. But once again, thank you all for joining us. Thank you for being with us here as we dissect and analyze and break down Charmed season 3, episode 1. A lot of stuff to go into, and we'll see you all next week. And thank you so much for joining us. And be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already, and be sure to subscribe so that you are the first to know when I post all of my videos or go live. Thank you again, y'all. Let's get creepy together.
Thank you. Bye.